Hello, and welcome back to the channel, my precious onion followers. Today, we're going to amp up our harvester's logic a little bit. Firstly, we'll need to make them target all fillable structures so that we can build other structures like storages in the future and not worry about wasting source. Also, we need to fix harvesters getting clogged up at the same source and changing which source they are harvesting from mid-harvest. Finally, we need to add logic to prioritize which targets are filled first. To do that, we're going to want to add a target variable to the creep's memory that is an ID of the type hash ID, or has ID as it says. This will let us store the ID of the structure that the creep is targeting in memory. Then we'll need to go to the role harvester and start coding up what we need. So next we need to add storage and container here. So another or structure dot structure type equal to structure storage, or structure dot structure type equal to structure container. So that's that one marked off the list. All fillable structures. Hell yeah. Make the harvester target a specific random valid source. So let's work on that. We're going to want to add another variable here, which will be harvesting. So a boolean that tells us if the creep is currently harvesting or not. We'll use this for any creeps that roles are a bit odd. So typically we'll use like a building or upgrading boolean first, but if they're a bit more multi-purpose, we'll use a harvesting role, or if it's the harvester. We'll also need to add an ID for the source that the creep targets, so that the creeps can target different sources in the room. First up, we'll want to check if the creep is not currently harvesting and its store is equal to 0. If that's the case, we want to set harvesting to true and get the creep to say it's harvesting. Next, we want to check if the creep is currently harvesting and its free capacity is equal to 0. That's our run out of energy. If that's true, we want to set, it's full of energy. If that's true, we want to set harvesting to false and say it's storing the energy. I've picked the shower emoticon because why not? I'm showering the energy into this structure. Next up, if the creep is currently harvesting, we'll want to run some code that gets it to harvest. If that's what his memory role says. Otherwise, we'll want to get it to fill in the objects with source. We're going to want to make a function called findSource that obviously will find a source, and that's going to return the ID of type hasID. We're going to make a constant findSources. That's done with creep.room.find and with a constant findSources. That'll give us a list of sources, and then we just want to return a random one from the list. We want to get a random index from the list of sources to return. So we'll do constant source index equals math.random multiplied by sources.length, and we'll need to do math.floor that to get it to a integer. And then we just return source index.id. Damn, and that should be good. Format our code to make Prettier happy, and we're awesome. One small correction, we'll want to change the return type of findSource to ID of type source. Alright, next we'll need a function to get the target instance, and that will probably be an ID of source for this particular method. We're going to want to store the result of the getObject by ID by our target, and we want to check if that is an instance of source, and then return it. If not, we return null. And add to here, source or null. Sorry, we made a typo here. We need to return result, not target. If we're not targeting a source, we need to target a structure to fill. So we should do that next. For now, we can probably just copy and paste all the logic that was in the else check from the original logic. And comment that out. When the creep is currently harvesting, if the creep has no source in memory, find one. Then we retrieve the target object from the memory ID reference. Finally, if the target source exists, then move to and harvest the source. Alright, let's try that out. We got 3 creeps here harvesting. Nice. making creeps have target prioritization. So we're going to need to add some more functions again. We want the function find target, which is going to return a target ID. We'll get to making that later. We want to find a list of targets, which is the same logic we've used previously. Just checking the structure types is one of the ones we're after, and that has free energy capacity to fill in. And then we want to find a particular type of target. So constant target extensions equals for every target in targets, we check if it's a structure extension. If it is, we push that to the target extensions array. And then we do the same for spawns, towers, storages, containers. And then we make an ordered targets list, which is an array of all the targets that we just got in a particular order. The first to be the extensions, then the spawns, then the towers, storages, and then the containers. You can change the order if you want, but that's the order I think will work best. And then we need the target index to start at 0, and we need to set the target ID to be nothing. So no target. And finally, for the length of the ordered targets, we go through the array and we check if there's the ordered target's I length is greater than 0. If it is, we do target index. We pick a random thing from that target, from the ordered targets thing. So ordered targets I would be, for example, the started extensions the first time this for loop goes through. So we're picking a random extension and setting that as our target ID equals the ID of the random target extension, or whichever one we're up to. So if all the extensions are completed, if they don't have free energy, then it'll be a spawn, then it'll be a tower, etc. We break out of the for loop to stop changing that, so it stops at the first one that's valid, and we return the target ID. And that's how we find our target. Awesome.
We'll rename our getTarget instance method to getSourceInstance.
Next, we'll need a function to get the structure instance, similar to how we get the source instance. They'll need to return any of these types. So the extension, spawn, tower, storage, or container. We want to hold a constant result, which is the target input, which is an ID of hash ID. So that should give us a structure. And then if it's an extension, we'll return an extension. Spawn, tower, storage, container, etc. Or null if it's none of the above. And that should work out well. So next up, we'll need to use that function in a minute.
At the top of getStructureInstance, we'll need to add if target is equal to undefined, target equals nothing as ID, hash ID.
And we need to set this to be or undefined. There we go.
If the creep isn't currently harvesting,
First, we need to pick a target, which is constant target equals getStructureInstance creep.memory.target. If that target is not null, or getStructureInstance creep.memory.target has more energy than 0, then we need to find a new target. We'll change that to a let target. And target equals getStructureInstance creep.memory.target. If the target is valid, not null, then we need to move to the target and transfer energy to the target. Let's test it. The harvester creep is indeed heading to the spawn. And he has a target in his memory. The target is C26A, A8F1. Yep, they get the same target. Cool.
we're going to add some extra target prioritization logic.
Alright, so we need a potential target, which is we find the target instance again and get the structure instance. And if that target is also a tower or a storage, So if the first target is a storage or a tower, and the potential target is not a storage or a tower, then we want to change the target to the potential target. Because storages and towers can wait to get refilled. There'll be a dedicated repairer role to fill a tower, and a storage will is like the last thing we want to fill up, basically. So we'll retarget away from them if there's another target we can fill. Otherwise, head to the head to those. Easy peasy. We just gave the harvester target prioritization, and quite a bit of an advanced one too, and not too much code.
Wicked sick.
Thanks for watching. Give it a like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll catch us next time.